What's up, y'all? It's KoDoRiN. I have been unable to stream thanks to Cox, so might as well just keep up with some YouTube content where I am going to talk about some things I feel strongly about, such as kind of the hot topic lately about do top players owe attending locals? Some Twitter discussions as of late. As you see, people out here like Aklo is saying how, I don't want to see a single top player complain about how they shouldn't go to locals. I just drove 4 hours to go to another state's local yesterday. And then blah, blah, blah. And, in some ways, I do kind of agree with this sentiment overall. I mean, hell, I even quote retweeted it where I do the same thing at the moment where, driving to SoCal locals like Lawless took 3 hours of traffic and 2 more hours just driving back to my place in San Diego. But notice how there's like a little caveat that I don't exactly blame most top players for not going because it's objectively not worth it. And here, if I could expand on what I mean by that, let's kind of take this to a step further. Like, do top players owe like giving back to the community? And if you were to ask that same question to, I don't know, like a League of Legends pro, where do they owe giving back to their like their college, their esports college campus program with their amateur league bracket, like should they enter and help and contribute? And then you would kind of just immediately think no, they're just players, like that's not what they do. Whereas like when you kind of try to bring up the same proposition with melee players, it's like, well, yeah, you should. In fact, why aren't you hosting tournaments at a loss? Smash.gg/TMT. Why aren't you going to every single local possible? Why aren't you, trying to build people up? There's a reason why trash talking is a little less popular than it was a little while ago. So like, how come that for Smash, it's that like there's like a feeling out there that we owe something. Whereas, like, that's kind of like not really what you would think for other esports leagues. And, it really does come down to the simple fact that League, like, they are fine financially. The way how they were like their upbringing is completely different from ours, where we didn't have any support. We had to rely amongst each other with that very grassroots feeling, and that's why, in some ways, we kind of just stuck with that feeling that, to kind of differentiate itself, because how we had to survive was relying on each other. How we, that's essentially what the Smash Doc was, where we got so big, with that Evo 2013 drive, because we all bonded and worked together in order to make our game have one more chance and for it to explode. And it's all honestly a community effort. We don't have, our developers actively holds us back. And the fact that we are still here to this day solely because of the community, I think that's why we get the feeling that everyone, including the top players, need to give back to their scene in some way. And that kind of gets to the top players, where the game is ultimately built upon the competition aspect and really glorifying the people, the competitors at the top. And as a result, they often have the most influence. They often have, they reap the most benefits financially. I don't know a single TO that's made it full time. I kind of know why for many reasons, but it's not unheard of for top players to make it. You see that at the tippity top, the like they're making good money off of streaming and using their influence to, have subs and whatnot and make a good amount of money. And even for people that are slightly lower, like, we're not exactly swimming in cash, but like, we're able to do this like viably at least. Like, it's not the worst job in the world. But you know, that also, it comes in both ways as well. Like, while there's a lot of benefits being the top player and how much influence they have, it also kind of goes the other way around where they, top players, they do get the brunt end of a lot of things. Like, if they lose a set, hell, they even drop a game to like people that is perceived that they shouldn't drop to. They don't hear the end of it from social media. You know, from the thousands of people that, admire their play, there's also at times equally, if not more, more naysayers. And that kind of makes some top players afraid to go to their locals or not feel super incentivized to go. Because, making money off of locals is so inconsistent. Like, only one player gets the majority of the pot, and everyone else is going home salty and not as much money. And a money aspect is a can of worms in and of itself, but it's also mostly like the naysayers. There's also like the vocal minority. Sometimes it feels more than that, if not more, literally, where if top players like drop a set and like lose a tournament, they kind of don't hear the end of it. And it's a lot of pressure. Like, take it from someone that's, trying his best to climb to the top. It is so hard. Like, the pressure is actually real. Like, especially since I'm trying to do this for a living. I don't blame most people for like not wanting to go. That's why I put that little caveat that like I actually like I'm crazy. Like, I'm doing it anyways despite the pressure, but I so very well understand why people don't go. And it kind of creates sentiments of tweets like these, which, according to KoDoRiN later responses taken out of context, but I still like feel the sentiment. I'll give the example right now.
Why is JFlex making this tweet? Why is JFlex making this tweet? What does he want out of this, chat? Can someone in chat tell me? What does he want out of this? What is he trying to get? Not because he enters. What is he trying to get from it? No, not. He doesn't want people to get better. That's not what he's trying for. Not to improve. No. That's not it either. No. Nope. Not to play more. Nope. Not to. You can get that on net play. That's not what he wants. He wants a mango win. He wants a fucking top 10 win. But guess what happens when you're in top 10? Do you have a good win to get?
I don't really know what he means by the last point, but it's like I kind of get it what Cody's saying. It's like you're always putting yourself out there as a competitor, and you get no reward essentially aside from like the financial aspect of it, which frankly isn't very much. But to continue, it's mostly like, yeah, you literally don't gain anything if you're like a top 10 player entering these locals, and you pretty much only have everything to lose. Like, obviously we take away the lessons that we learn as a top player, but in terms of like rankings or whatever, our rankings don't change when we enter these locals. Like, it doesn't really help if we enter locals without like, the people on the top trying to upset us. Or it like the top players, they don't gain anything from entering locals if there's no one else better, or maybe even roughly around their level. They only stand to lose, because if they win, it's like, okay, you're supposed to win. But then if you lose, ooh, there's it's gonna be used against you in rankings. It's gonna feel really bad. There's gonna be people in chat saying, "Oh, you lost to JFlex." And like I get it. And but this tweet kind of got a lot of like agreement. And let's look at the Aklo tweet again, where like it got like 800 likes, almost 900 likes. And like there was like a pretty big Twitter discussion chain. Go look it up yourself if you want to. But essentially, like the sentiment's all the same. Where like a lot of people in the Smash scene agrees that like, yeah, like this is whining. You gotta like you top players, you're not above entering locals. You should enter and help us out anyways. Um, and at the end of the day, I kind of agree. Um, because here's some refutations that I just said. Um, Despite the paranoia that I've just said that every top player feels whenever they lose is someone below them, at least like a decent amount below them. I'm part of the SoCal PR panel. We don't care if you're like 10-1 against someone, even 10-2. It's like, yeah, we get it. You have a supreme winning record. That's like we're giving credit to the guy that beat you twice, but that's not used against you. If we're comparing you to someone else that's like has similar records, and you have those two losses, it's like whatever. As well as like if you get multiple, as well as like if you've entered a lot of tourneys, like say you entered like 30 tourneys in the span of the ranking period, we're gonna chop some bad losses here and there. Like, okay, you entered 30, 5 bad losses is just off the blemish of your record because you entered so much, you put yourself out there so much that like you're more forgiven because yeah, you put yourself out there, and of course when you enter more, you're more likely to be upsetted. So that's like our policy for the SoCal PR, and it's not just me. A good reminder: panelists do not care about your local results in 99% of situations. Because at the end of the day, what we actually care in the SoCal PR panel is like, how well do you do in majors? That's why Base Rose was ranked with fiction. It's really the majors, the big dogs, the big result, the one that actually everyone cares about. That's what's actually weighed the most. And you know, locals are like supplementary data points as opposed to like the thing that determines everything. Even if you were to lose, even if you're a top 10 player that like dropped a set to JFlex, like that doesn't matter nearly as much as you think. And at the end of the day, top players that are really making it their streams, that are making like 6 figures because of streaming, they are in a little bit of a dilemma, honestly. Like, because going to locals, in all seriousness, is like not a good investment for money. Uh, you know, Cody, he has like at the time of this video, he has over 2,000 subs, and uh, would going to a nightclub really make up for the amount of subs that he would get in one day? I don't think so. Like at most, he gets like 100, $200 for getting first, and does that make up for all the subs he just lost that day for not streaming for 6 hours? Maybe more. I No. The answer is definitely no. It's really easy for people like me and Aklo to say this because we don't have thousands of subs. Our time, essentially, what I'm saying is that our time is less valuable at this moment compared to the top streamers. Like, HBox is the exception because, he makes online tourneys his content. But can you say the same thing about HBox attending in IRL locals? I think the conversation becomes a little different. And same thing with Mango. Which, by the way, HBox is a genius for making online locals his content. But that's besides the point. Going to IRL locals is actually a much harder cost for them because they lose a lot of money. Like Mango's gone on record saying that every major he attends, he definitely loses a lot of subs, a lot of money. But here is one flaw to most streamers is that they forget that majority of their subs are supporting them because of their performance in tournaments. I'm gonna be real, most of them are bad streamers. um Most, I mean, I could even probably say for most of my own subs is that I don't think they're subbing because of my streaming content and skills. They're subbing to me because they like me. They like my performances in tournaments. Like Slime said in the tweet that I gotta find, um, how you do in majors shouldn't be determined by like you shouldn't see the worth of majors in terms of prize pools. You should determine the worth of majors because of advertising your Doritos that you sell on your stream. Because Smash streams have such an anomaly compared to every other stream where their sub to viewer ratios is absurdly high. Like there's people out there that gets hundreds of stream viewers and like less than 100 subs. Whereas you see the opposite with Cody, where he has like, some average 200 to 400 viewers and over 2,000 subs. Mango averages like somewhere between 1,000 to 2,000 viewers, 10,000 subs. So at the end of the day, like top players can't forget that they are where they are because of tournaments, and where it all started was from locals. And you know, their livelihood was built up because of the community at the end of the day. And I do think at the end of the day, top players do owe it to the Smash community that they should attend their locals, even though if it might not be the best for them in terms of pressure, in terms of financial commitment, they should not forget their roots.